And thank you for joining us here at Ask a Historian. I'm Matthew Wilkinson, historian with Heritage Mississauga. Like, subscribe, and follow us and stay up to date on all the heritage happenings with Heritage Mississauga. And don't forget to send in your questions each and every week as we explore the fascinating stories and history of the city of Mississauga together here on Ask a Historian. For this week's episode, I had a little bit of an inspiration from an inquiry we received this week from Peter around trying to locate the former golf club in Mississauga, one that is no longer on our landscape today. And it got me to thinking and wandering down memory lane and remembering that there are more than a few former golf clubs that are no longer on our landscape. And I thought for this episode, we'll focus on some of the things that once were. We're familiar with or many of us will be familiar with the significant golf courses that continue to operate within the city of Mississauga. Of course, there is the Mississauga Golf and Country Club on Mississauga Road, and adjacent to it, the Credit Valley Golf and Country Club. Over in the Lakeview area along Dixie Road, you have both the Toronto Golf Club and the Lakeview Golf Club. And of course, up in our north end, we have the Dairydale Golf Country Club. So there is those things still remain on our landscape and have significant stories unto themselves as well. But I wanted to focus on clubs that are no longer with us here, and it kind of perhaps harkens, when you think of it, back to an era when we were certainly not a city, and this was kind of the countryside, and a lot of country clubs and golf clubs operated at kind of the same period of time. So there was a lot more happening in Mississauga than what we see today in terms of golf and country clubs. So our first one, and this one came from the inquiry received from Peter, and involves the Glen Levin Golf Course, which operated between 1920 and 1966. The Glen Levin Golf Course was established by Lachlan Alexander Hamilton. He had served as the first president of the Mississauga Golf and Country Club, and he served as that from 1906 till 1915. Well, he then purchased a 50-acre property in Clarkson from the Peer family to build a new golf course, which he described as a poor man's golf course. It was a simple course consisting of 9 holes and did not have what he referred to as a fancy, wealthy clubhouse. The cost to play around was 50 cents. It was very popular during its heyday. The Glen Levin Golf Course had operated until 1966, when it was sold for development under the name of Glen Levin Properties Limited. In the early 1970s, the subdivision was established, and a road name, Glen Levin Crescent, remembers the property's early years as the poor man's golf course. Nearby Glen Levin Park, accessed from Bexhill Road, is on part of what was the original golf course property, and also takes its name in remembrance of the former golf course. So again, Glen Levin Golf Course operated just off of Bexhill Road in the Clarkson area, south of Lakeshore Road, between 1920 and 1966. From there, we'll go to the Hawthorne Valley Golf and Country Club, which operated between 1959 and 1986. It was located north of Eglinton Avenue on the west side of Hurontario Street, and there's a road that traverses the former golf club area called Glen Hawthorn Boulevard. The road remembers Glen Grice and his Hawthorne Valley Golf and Country Club. Glen Grice, who lived between 1926 and 2002, operated a 100-acre farm here, what he referred to as Hawthorne Valley. Glen was actively involved in the affairs of his community, serving as Ward 4 Ward 4 councillor from 1960 to 1973. And in 1963, he was elected chairman of the South Peel Board of Education. Glen was also involved with the Red Cross, the Heart and Stroke Fund for Peel County, Christ Church in Clarkson, the Cooksville Rotary Club, and Cooksville United Church. Construction of the Hawthorne Valley Golf and Country Club began on his property in 1959, and a grand opening was held on July 15th of 1961 for a 2,500-yard, 18-hole, professionally designed landscape golf course. The club would later add tennis courts and a swimming pool within the first 2 years of its operation. Glen sold the club in 1984, but he continued to manage it until 1986, when the club closed and the land was open for development purposes. Again, the road within the community today, known as Glen Hawthorn, remembers the Hawthorne Valley Golf and Country Club and Glenn Grice, who owned it and operated it during that time. So again, Hawthorne Valley Golf Country Club, no longer part of our landscape today, but it is remembered in a road name and the information we have on the former golf club. Another one, country club that had golf facilities within it was the Oneida Country Club, which operated between 1957 and 1969. Richard DeBoo, a noted Toronto-based publisher, purchased 47 acres of the former Fasken estate in 1957 with the intent of opening a country club. He had originally purchased land in the early 1950s on the opposite side of the Credit River, where he built his own house. And that street that led to his house off of the Queensway is known as Oneida Court today. But on the opposite side of the Credit River, this is where he intended to build the country club and purchased land again in 1957 for that purpose. An article in the Port Credit Weekly on July 18th of 1957 announced DeBoo's intention to create what became the Oneida Country Club, consisting of 75 acres, located a short distance north of the Mississauga Golf and Country Club on Mississauga Road and on the west side of the Credit River. The Fasken estate already featured an expansive and fancy estate house, which had been built about 1920. This house was converted to become the main clubhouse for the Oneida Country Club. The property also featured low stone walls along Mississauga Road and an ornamental gate emblazoned with the words I Alpha, which was the reference to Isabella and Alexander Fasken. DeBoo had matching gate posts added that showcased the words Oneida CC, Oneida Country Club, and these gates survive on Mississauga Road today, albeit on a private residential property. And a new ornamental entrance to the country club was also built. And as part of this, stone pineapples were added as ornamentation on the on the stone fences. So if you're driving along Mississauga Road today, and I've written about this in the past, try to see if you can find the stone pineapples. That is the link to the Oneida Country Club, and that was their symbol. A pineapple was envisioned by DeBoo to denote or to be the calling card or the poster, if you will, for the Oneida Country Club. I'm struggling for the right word there. Historically, the pineapple in Europe and North America was a showcase for exclusivity, wealth, and aristocracy. As pineapples became more readily available after the Second World War, it developed additional symbolism. It became seen as a sign of welcome, neighborliness, and hospitality. DeBoo's country club would cater to both elements, wealth and hospitality. The Oneida Country Club is geographically situated between two older clubs, the Mississauga Golf and Country Club and the Credit Valley Golf and Country Club. But Oneida sought to be something different. While Oneida did have a relatively small 9-hole golf course, it also featured tennis, swimming, horseback riding, and skiing, not to mention the expansive clubhouse, which catered to social activities, large meetings, and weddings. Oneida advertised itself as an exclusive social club, and it was in operation between 1957 and 1969. Ill health forced Richard DeBoo to sell the Oneida Country Club to Leonard Finch of the United Lands Corporation in 1969. Oneida quietly closed its doors at the end of the season in October of 1969. A portion of the Oneida lands were acquired by the Credit Valley Golf Club, and other areas were subdivided for development. And the old Oneida Country Clubhouse, which had originally been the home of the Fasken family, was once again reverted to a private residence, and it remains today, as do some of the stone walls and the stone gate posts. Richard DeBoo passed away on June 29, 1970. His obituary lists that he was laid to rest in Montreal, but his stone pineapples, of course, remain along Mississauga Road. From there, we go to another golf club that is no longer on our landscape today, and that is the oldest one of our stories here today, and that is the Lakeshore Golf and Country Club. Lakeshore is spelled as two words, and it operated between 1918 and 1944. Art Murdoch purchased 105 acres along the Lake Ontario shoreline in the Clarkson area in 1918. Murdoch commissioned renowned architect Stanley Thompson to design a golf course. A formal clubhouse, pro shop, and 9-acre course opened in 1922, with formal opening ceremonies taking place on August 26 of 1922. In 1924, the course was expanded to 18 holes. The golf pros over time included Percy Bell, Percy Barrett, and Bert Two. In 1925, the name of the club was changed to the Lakeshore Golf and Country Club. Again, Lakeshore spelled with 2 words. In 1943, the clubhouse was lost to a devastating fire, and in 1944, the club closed and was sold to James Tuckett. In 1946, a subdivision was registered on the property under the name of Meadowwood Limited, and that's where Meadowwood Road takes its name from today. The Meadowwood subdivision, which was originally called Meadowwood on the Lake, was managed and designed by renowned landscape architect Carl Borgstrom. Country Club Crescent within the Meadowwood subdivision today recalls the golf club and its original circular drive. So there are some remembrances of it, even though the golf club is gone. And our last one for today, very briefly, is the Grand Highlands Golf Club, which operated between 1986 and 2020. The Grand Highlands Golf Club opened in 1994. The property was located just kind of north of Eglinton Avenue and to the east of Hurontario Street. It was ringed by a modern subdivision development. The property was originally part of the Scott Farm, but it had been used for the portion that was the golf course had been used as a gravel and sand quarry prior to development. Grand Highlands was a nine-hole golf course, and it was situated on a high hill overlooking the subdivision that surrounded it. The property was acquired by the city of Mississauga in 2021 for future parkland development. So that is the story this week of some golf courses that were once part of our landscape but have disappeared over time for one reason or another. And again, some of them older and some of them a little bit more recent. So with that, thank you for joining us for another episode of Ask a Historian. Keep sending in your questions. We look forward to exploring different chapters and different stories of the fascinating history of the city of Mississauga each and every week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us and stay up to date on all the heritage happenings with Heritage Mississauga. And we'll see you next week on Ask a Historian.